We are excited about the elaboration room.
I am excited about this.
Welcome to the Elaboration Room with Reverend Yo and Reverend Harris.
Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us in the Elaboration Room with two sisters of one. Woo, woo, woo. We thank you for just continually tuning into our show. We are just overwhelmed with the love that we continue to get with you viewing our show, especially when we have our little silly moments. We thank you for the text, the little side comments that you give us. They just make us laugh.
Sometimes I go back and watch it and they crack me up.
I go back and be like, what was we doing?
That part.
I think I watched our mother one at least a couple of times because I was like, oh, goodness.
And we knew the backstory.
Yeah. The one you forbid me to mention?
Yes, ma'am. Oh.
So we just thank you for continuing to join in with us. But tonight's episode, we just want to honor the men that are in our lives, whether you are the father, the uncle, the cousin, the godfather, the good friend that's always just stepped in to be that father figure in someone's life, whether a daughter or a son, a niece, a nephew, whatever it is. We're celebrating you tonight because celebrating men is a wonderful way that we acknowledge and honor you for the significant role that you play in the lives in our families as well as in our society as a whole. Because some of the men out there picking up that role are not actually fathers where they actually have fathered a child, but they are picking up that role to care for the children that are in their lives. So we just want to give you a woo, 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 woo.
I think the men get shortchanged on this one. You know, I think they do. And our pastor has been mentioning it he's been mentioning it ever since Mother's Day. It's like, let us not forget Father's Day is coming up. Let us not forget, let us celebrate the men. Yeah. So I think
we as women, we always get the Mother's Day is just like, whoo.
Hello.
And then Father's Day is either the ties or the socks. Or they may even take them out to dinner. If not, it may be a little dinner at home. But tonight, we want to be able to recognize you for the significant sacrifices and roles that you have made in the lives of those that you care for. Men in general most often make significant sacrifices, as well as most women, as well as for their well-being and happiness for their families. They're working long hours, or they are away from their families the most, whether they're working the long hours to provide for their loved ones, or even sacrificing their personal interests for the family's needs, or simply being there whenever they're needed. Fathers demonstrate to me a real profound commitment to the families. What do you
That's
say?
right. That's it. They do. When a father is there in the house, usually they are the leadership.
Mm-hmm.
They are the leadership. They're worried about the safety of their families.
Mm-hmm.
They're the providers, or the joint providers, the way that the economy is right now. But that's it. That's it. And as Reverend Yo was saying, you may not have birthed the young people that you are seeing after, but if you step into that role, kudos to you. Kudos to you. For I know in my situation, after I think it was elementary school, my dad was not in the house. My mom and dad had separated, and it was my grandfather that really stepped into that role.
Mm-hmm.
And you can thank him that I am a bit spoiled the way I am today. Because it was my grandfather and he taught us so much. He was a Baptist pastor and he really, instilled God and church and all of that spiritual well-being into us, my brother and I.
Mhm.
And he was my dad. He was, and I called him Papa, but he was my dad. And I could go to him and we'd have these deep discussions and everything like that. So, sometimes you did not birth the children that you're looking after the young people you're looking after.
Yeah.
Sometimes it may be a male teacher. You may be a male teacher and you're looking after your students, or someone in the church who steps in and looks after. It is important that some people may disagree. I'll put this out there, but it is, to me, in my opinion, it is important to have a male figure in that type of a role for not only the young men, but for the women. When you have a good role model of a male figure, then when that young lady is looking to marry or who she's going to be with, if she has a great role model to follow. I mean, it's just like we have the role model of Jesus, but to follow. But if she has a great role model to follow, there's something to measure up,
Yeah,
you
it
know?
is.
There's
Yes.
something that you want to measure up to. So when a prayer is said about you, what you want for a mate, you have a list of good things,
Yeah.
good qualities.
Mhm.
We have to stop focusing so much on negative,
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
I don't want this and I don't want that, but know what you want
Yeah.
and put that out there.
Yeah.
Put that energy out there.
Yeah, because when you look at role models and mentorship, which is what many of our men do these days, especially when they are coaches of football teams, and
Right. Hmm.
with sons that are have single parent homes, that role that they play for, because we're both from the education world, so all the kids were always my kids. I mean, when they were in school, they were my kids.
Right.
So you pick up that role model of mentorship, and that's what many of these men do when they step into those father roles of football coach, basketball coach, track coach, whatever. That role model that they give, they are imparting the essential values and ethics and lessons that shape that development of that child that is under their care, because they're also in that they're offering that guidance and that support and that encouragement. And that's what helps navigate the life challenges and make sound decisions that happens with many of our youth today, especially our young men. And it
Yes.
also teaches our daughters, how you are supposed to be treated by
Right.
a man. And it teaches our sons how you are supposed to treat a woman. So having those role models and mentorships are, to me, it's crucial in the lives of our young people.
Right. And you know what? I know a lot of women have the mindset, I don't need a man and I can teach everything that needs to be taught, but you can't.
To each his
You
own.
can't. You can't teach those gems and jewels that will come from a male perspective.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
can't. And you can't have that male conversation that
Mhm.
is really telling that young man how to treat a daughter, someone's daughter, and how to, navigate, as Reverend Yo was saying, navigate life.
Yeah, but I'm not disagreeing, but there are some really strong women that have raised some really good young men and respectable young men in this society. And it comes from there's so much that we as women can teach our sons, but we teach our sons to respect and to honor. We put our kids through high school, we put our kids through college. So there are some strong sisters out there. I give it to you, but we're really just talking about the role models that men offer. We're not saying you can't offer certain things to your child, but in the sense of the society that we are in, we're just specifically talking about having that role model mentorship for our young men and our young women in life, because attached to all that also becomes that emotional support side. And yes, mothers have been there to, emotional support their sons, but there's something about a man that has that same of emotional support to their son, support and nurturing them in their role to become a man. And women can do that as well, but we're
It
just simply,
comes from a different, I have to
it
jump in
comes,
there.
yeah,
It comes
it comes
differently
differently,
when
but
it comes
women,
from a male's perspective.
yeah, but we're not saying women, I'm not saying women cannot do it. I'm just saying there's a difference twist on it when men are involved, because it provides that sense of security and stability, and offering that male shoulder to lean on during,
Yes,
tough times that we as women may not always understand everything. And it just, to me, it's just
exactly.
celebrating that genuine support and pride for that man or that young man, to have that man figure to talk to. That's just my
Right,
thought on it.
right. Exactly. That's it.
Mhm.
So what you just pretty much said, sister, pretty much said what I said, but that's, yeah. So, just to celebrate you guys today, the men who step into programs like Big Brother,
Yeah.
those programs, and just I know for the AME church, it's the ha
Sons of
Save
Alan.
Our
Oh,
Sons.
Save Our Sons.
Yes, and the Sons of Alan and all of that. When you step into those programs and you know you become that ear for that young man who is going through something or just trying to understand all these twists and turns. There's different, and there's a different conversation that you would have, because like I have even watched my husband, as a father and a stepfather with our blended family, have conversations with our sons, about even dealing with law enforcement from a Black man's perspective.
Mhm.
A conversation that I never would have thought to have. That, how they are, I could tell them from my perspective how they should behave, but he took it to a different level.
Mhm.
Why? Because he's been in that situation,
Mhm.
you know? And I have sat and watched, even when my sons, we have gone into the store, and I know this was we went into a phone uh company store. I won't say which one. And I watched as a security guard started following my son around. And I'm like, why? Because an atmosphere shifts when a Black man or someone of color from a male perspective walks into an establishment. You should sit back, women, and watch this. And so that that is something that I never had to deal with. But when I brought it up, my husband knew about that and could address it. So
Mhm.
I just want to applaud the men for doing what they do
Yeah.
and for doing it, whether it is a biological
Mhm.
young man or young lady or not. But when you raise the bar, and you are seeing after, that's what I'll call it, taking care and showing kindness and seeing after. Yay to you.
Yeah. It for me, it's just the express the expressing the gratitude of above all, that fathers and male role models and those mentors that are out there, this is an opportunity that we take to express our gratitude and appreciation for the love and support and guidance that you have provided to those young men or even young women in your life, your sons, your daughters, nieces, nephews, whatever it is,
Neighbors.
whoever it is. Rather through the heartfelt of just you stepping into that role to a father-daughter dance, or for your niece or your cousin or whatever that may be, or just being on that field for a nephew or your child, or your cousin, just when they're out there, doing their sports, just to be there and cheer them on.
Yes.
Because that is key to them. And it just, in my opinion, it just makes them feel like, yes, I got support. Just simply spending quality time at their games or
Showing up.
their
That's it.
shows, or just, whatever it is you do. This segment is really just expressing our gratitude and thanks toward you as we celebrate the fathers and look for that future commitment that you will continue to have to support those individuals that are in your life. Because as men, by advocating for our children, our daughters and our sons and cousins and nieces and nephews, and I'm saying all those because it's so many different types, it's just a moment of celebration for you, and say thank you. That's what this episode is all about, celebrating and honoring the men who have stepped up to the plate and those that have never left the plate. There you
That's
go.
right. That's good. That's a good one. That's a good way
That's
to
all I
put it.
got.
Yes, that's a good one. So we hope that you enjoy not only your day, but we hope that you can see the fruits of your labor,
Yeah.
and every day that you are being fed as you are feeding,
Mm-hmm.
So we hope, even for the women, that you share a different perspective in how you look at the men in your life, and what they are doing, even for you. It's not just for the children, having a good male person in your life it's a
It's
good
key.
thing.
It's key. I can
It's a
say
good
it's a
thing.
great thing.
It's a good thing.
My husband he's just been an awesome husband for now a little bit over 20 years. He's just an awesome husband.
That's it.
I mean,
That is
he
it.
was awesome. We're a blended family as well. I took in, his two girls. I have a boy and a girl, so we're that blended group of four, but never any issues, whatever, the kids needed to do or where to go, whatever. It's just never been a problem. It's just never. And I come from a split home. I didn't grow up with a male figure in the house. My biological father didn't even want anything to do with me, so I was basically with my stepfather, my sister's father, for some of my younger years, and then him and my mom, they went their ways, and I really didn't have a real male figure in my life. My aunt had a boyfriend or something at that time, but I've never really had a real male figure in my life to guide me until my papa.
Your
And
papa.
he was a pawpaw through marriage. He was a different kind of breed of a man, and I take my hat off to pawpaw. May he rest in peace. But he was an absolute outstanding male figure in my life from age 17 to, I want to say, probably about 22, 23 or somewhere. I can't quite remember what year he passed away, but I still remember things he told me. It's kind of like that
That's it.
granny,
And that's it.
you remember those things
Yes.
that they told you. And it's just amazing that the impact that men and mentors and role models can play in a female and a male's life, just by what you say and how you act and what you
And
do. And
that's it.
it's hats off to my pawpaw.
Oh, and my pawpaw too. That's it. Because
Yes.
like you say, I still remember the life the things that he did, and the time and the moments together, not just sitting down and listening to lessons all the time, but just the celebration and the laughter of, just time together. And it's just awesome.
Yeah.
So we hope that we have given you something else to consider, even in this conversation, as we celebrate the men of God's kingdom, the men
Yeah.
of creation. So, sis, go ahead.
As always, we want you to pray, be strong, and be different. Ask, and it will be given unto you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and the door shall be opened unto you. Believe in yourself and encourage yourself. But in all things, remember, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Peace and blessings, our brothers and sisters. Until next time in the elaboration room with two sisters of one, we pray you have a very blessed evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The Elaboration Room with two sisters of one. Make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode every Monday at 6 p.m.